Hiss! Everyone present inhaled a deep breath of cool air after hearing Gu Yuan's words. A shock surged within their eyes. Creating a D-tier medicinal pill? Who in this world had the ability to do such a thing? Han Tiandi was not an alchemist. How could he refine it? The medicinal pill has an embryonic form, meaning most important step in a pill refinement was completed by the Shi ancient god. If Han Tiandi is able to finish the final pill forming step, it is not impossible for this D-tier embryonic pill to become a true D-tier medicinal pill. Xiaoyan licked his lips and slowly explained. We have indeed underestimated Han Tiandi's wild ambition. Although the D-tier embryonic pill is powerful, there are only some chance of success in allowing him to break through to the Dou D class. However, if he refined the D-tier embryonic pill into a true D-tier medicinal pill, he would magnify this chance of success by many times. One can even say that as long as he possessed an actual D-tier medicinal pill, he would be able to step across the barrier that had hindered him for thousands of years. The originally doubtful individuals became quiet after hearing Xiaoyan, who could be considered as the top alchemist on the current Douqi continent, speaking in this manner. The D-tier embryonic pill was not what Han Tiandi genuinely wanted. Instead, he wanted a true D-tier medicinal pill. In that case, now should be quite a good opportunity for us, right? Since Han Tiandi needed to complete the final step of the D-tier embryonic pill, he would definitely have to reveal himself. At that time, we will intervene and stop him. Lang spoke in a deep voice. I do not know what kind of secret method Han Tiandi had used, but he had already completely merged with the D-tier medicinal pill. With his current strength, it is likely extremely difficult for even Zhu Kuan and I to stop him. Gu Yuan shook his head. He paused for a moment before speaking. I think that if it not because refining the D-tier medicinal pill is currently the most important thing, the Han clan would likely have come invading us. Everyone were startled upon hearing this. The situation was getting from bad to worse. Back then, they were still able to fight equal. Moreover, with the appearance of Zhu Kuan, the Alliance army had even gained the upper hand. In the end, this upper hand had completely vanished in such a short amount of time. What should we do? Don't tell me that we will simply just watch him truly refining a D-tier medicinal pill. There is still a chance if we fight now. Once the D-tier medicinal pill's final step is completed, there will really be no one to stop Han Tiandi. Lang spoke in a deep voice. Everyone nodded after Lang spoke. Currently, the situation was the worst possible one. They would really be finished if they did not act. Gu Yuan placed his hands behind him. Their expressions were gloomy as the stares at the indescribable enormous light cauldron. A moment later, he said, We will temporarily wait and see. Refining a D-tier medicinal pill is not something that can be completed immediately. We need to calculate the best moment to strike. Everyone mused for a moment after hearing this. Finally, they nodded. The situation might be extremely terrible, but they must not panic. The Central Plains had descended into quite a big commotion at this moment. The source of this commotion was naturally the huge light cauldron that was formed in the sky. The ripple vaguely emitted from it caused many experts to feel uneasy. Half a day or so after the light cauldron appeared, a black light appeared in the distant sky. Finally, a black light shot out from all directions in front of the countless pairs of eyes and formed an extremely huge formation. After this formation appeared, a figure with long scattered hair also appeared at the middle of the formation. Han Tiandi, Gu Yuan's group, who had been monitoring the development of the situation, shrunk their eyes the moment they saw the figure hidden within the large formation. All of them focused on that spot. Gu Yuan now. Do you regret not agreeing to cooperate with me back then? A pair of eyes penetrated through the clouds from within the formation and shot towards a certain spot on the Central Plains. A faint voice that vaguely contained an extremely terrifying pressure resounded over the entire Central Plains. Gu Yuan's expression was as deep as water. Both of his hands were clenched tightly, but he did not speak. My many years of planning is finally useful now. Ultimately, I am the winner of this 1,000-year battle. The huge formation that covered the entire Central Plains suddenly unleashed many light pillars after Han Tiandi's voice sounded. These light pillars directly shot to various spots on the land. Rumble! The entire Central Plains seemed to have shook violently the moment the light pillar landed on the ground. A city stood on a flat plain somewhere within the Central Plains. It was very lively and could be considered to be a highly populated city. Bang! However, this liveliness did not continue for long. A huge crack suddenly spread over the city as the land began to shake. Immediately, many strong individuals rose into the air in shock. Before they could react, however, a black light had suddenly broke from the land and covered the entire city within it. Boom, boom, boom. The many human figures within the city suddenly exploded under the cover of the black light pillars. A bloody fog and shattered flesh burst apart. This sudden, unexpected occurrence caused everyone to become stunned. They looked at the human figures who had exploded into a bloody fog. A deep horror and shock swiftly surged out from within his heart like floodwater. The city descended into chaos amidst the horror. All of them crazily fled towards the city gate. Some of the stronger individuals even leaped into the air and escaped. Before they could escape, however, the panic from the self-destruction spread apart. In an instant, blood fog spread within the city. The viscous blood and shattered flesh buried half of the city. Black light pillar covered the city in a bloody sea. Waves of bloody aura flowed and slowly rose. Finally, it turned into a blood-colored light pillar. It charged towards the sky and rushed into the huge, large formation that covered the Central Plains. Bloodlight shot out, and the black light disappeared. It left behind a bloody scent, which was so dense that it caused the place to be a repulsive death city. Creak! The people who had just entered the city at the entrance. He looked at the slowly opening city gate. Joy had yet to appear on their faces when their eyes were filled with a bloody sea that surged forth. Immediately, a sharp cry resounded. A situation that was similar to this city was being enacted in many parts of the Central Plains. Dense, bloody fog had basically covered the sky above the entire Central Plains. Even the air had been mixed with a rich, bloody scent. The entire Central Plains had begun to panic at this moment. Gu Yuan, Xiao Yin, and the others stood in the air of a city a short distance from the Sky Mansion Alliance. They looked down at the sea of blood in the city below. Their faces were completely green. What happened? Yin Jin watched this scene, inhaled a cold breath, and said, Gu Yuan had a green face. He waved his sleeve, and the cracks in the city was forcefully pulled apart. The sea of blood was expelled. With the spreading of the cracks, a blood-colored formation appeared underground. Dense white bones filled the place. A dark and stern aura surged towards the sky. Devouring spirit, eliminating life formation. An involuntary exclamation sounded. Shock surged onto the faces of Yin Jin and the others after seeing the formation hidden underground. What ruthless technique! Lang clenched his teeth and said, Devouring spirit, eliminating life formation. It was an extremely vicious formation that originated from the ancient times. This formation would turn all life covered within its boundary into blood. Moreover, it would forcefully extract energy from within the blood. Due to this formation being overly vicious, it had long since ceased to exist. Unexpectedly, this Han clan was able to unleash it. These formations had been placed by the Han clan. It seems that the Hall of Souls mission might appear to be collecting souls on the surface, but they have quietly placed many of these devouring spirit-eliminating life formations underground within the Central Plains. Gu Yuan spoke in a gloomy voice. The Hun clan is really well prepared for this. With so many devouring spirit-eliminating life formation forcefully absorbing energy, the speed at which Han Tiandi refined the D-tier medicinal pill will significantly increase. Xiaoyan lifted his head, looked at the huge formation in the distant sky, and said, "However, this devouring spirit-eliminating life formation also requires an extremely great amount of energy to activate. I think that the Hun clan had exhausted all of its energy at this moment. They are betting everything on this. Let's return and discuss our plan. The Hun clan has created such a great massacre. It could be considered the enemy of everyone. If we gather everyone's strength, it might be possible to fight them." Gu Yuan waved his hand, after which he rushed towards the headquarters. Everyone hurriedly followed. Xiaoyan glanced at their backs, only to sigh softly. Although they had the strength in numbers, the strength of Han Tiandi alone would likely be able to battle all the experts in this world should he advance to the Do D class. This was the terrifying aspect of an elite Do D. We can only do our best. Everyone had only just returned to the headquarters when they saw Zhu Kun, who had been missing for over half a month, standing outside the large hall. Ziyin was standing behind him. It is unexpected that this fellow would actually have such a technique, Zhu Kun sighed after seeing Xiaoyan and the others. Clearly, they had also detected the action of Han Tiandi. Gu Yuan nodded quietly and said, "Now, all we can do is to try our best to gather more people. As long as we can break the big formation in the sky, Han Tiandi's beautiful dream will be shattered." However, even he could only laugh bitterly when he uttered these words. An ordinary expert was as insignificant as an ant in Han Tiandi's eyes. However, just how many experts like them existed in the Do Chi continent? We can only do this now. However, once Han Tiandi is allowed to advance into the Do D class, everything will be over. Xiaoyan laughed bitterly and said. Zhu Kun was quiet. His hand rubbed together in a habitual fashion, after which he glanced at Ziyin behind him. Finally, he inhaled a deep breath of air and said, "It is not completely over. He can advance into the Do D class. On our side, we can also create one." Creating a Do D? The air seemed to have solidified under Zhu Kun's words. Even Gu Yuan could only widen his mouth. He was stunned as he looked at Gu Yuan in front of him. The atmosphere had solidified for a long while. Only then did it show signs of easing up. After experiencing a lost feeling of one's head ceasing to work, everyone had finally recovered. Everyone felt it was a little ridiculous. Creating a Do D? Even though these words had originated from Zhu Kun's mouth, it still lacked trustworthiness. The whole world had not produced a single elite Do D during these tens of thousands of years. This allowed everyone to understand that the legendary level was too far to imagine. "You were joking, right?" Yan Jin widened his mouth. His voice had involuntarily become a little dry. Although his words contained a feeling of complete disbelief, some hope still rose within his heart for some unknown reason when he spoke. Currently, the situation of the Alliance army could be described as being backed into a corner. Once Han Tiandi advanced to the Do D class, they would lose all opportunity. That level was already something that human strength could not resist. If Zhu Kun was speaking the truth, it would be possible to turn this inevitable situation around. Zhu Kun now is not the time for jokes. Xiaoyan hesitated for a moment as he chose his words with discretion and said, "If Zhu Kun really had such a method, he would not end up remaining at that level for such a long time." Gu Yuan did not speak. All he did was to stare intently at Zhu Kun as he attempted to hear an explanation that could confirm those words. Zhu Kun involuntarily parted his lips after seeing everyone's doubtful eyes. He said, All of you can be rest assured that I do not have the mood to fool around with all of you. It is really a blessing from the heavens that it is possible for our side to also produce an elite Do-D. Can you give a clearer explanation? Gu Yuan's hand shook as he asked. Zhu Kun slowly lifted his head. His eyes looked towards the heavenly flame square that he had brought out from the ancient god mansion. After being quiet for a moment, he finally said, "Actually, the D-tier embryonic pill is not the most precious item within the ancient god mansion." Is Elder Zhu Kun referring to that thing? Xiaoyan fell into a deep thought. His finger pointed towards the heavenly flame square floating in the sky and said, "Otherwise, do you think that I have decided to spend a great effort to bring such a big thing out for fun just because I have too much free time?" Zhu Kun rolled his eyes. He waved his sleeve, and the space fluctuated. The area in front of everyone's eyes became dazzled. They had already appeared above the huge heavenly flame square when they appeared. Xiaoyan's eyes swept over those heavenly flame pillars around the square. However, he failed to detect any energy ripple. He looked all over the place before pausing his eyes on the 100,000 feet stone statue. In what way is this strange? Laying by the side, did not discover anything after searching for a moment. Finally, he could not resist asking. Zhu Kun stood with his hands behind him. He lifted his head, and his eyes looked at the mountain-like stone statue. He said, "Are you aware of the origin of the two-she ancient god, or rather its identity?" Everyone were startled upon hearing this. They exchanged glances with each other before shaking their heads quietly. The two-she ancient god was someone from a completely different era. They had only read about the name two-she ancient god on the ancient text. All of them were totally ignorant of his background and identity. According to what I know, the two-she ancient god was extremely mysterious. No one knew of its origin. There had been many experts from the continent back then. Many individuals standing at the peak had done their best to break into the Do-D class. However, none of them ultimately succeeded. Yet, at that time, a completely unknown two-she ancient god had appeared. Gu Yuan had an expression of deep thought as Ji recalled the extremely old records within the tribe. It was rumored that two suns appeared in the sky and the world crumbled when the two-she ancient god advanced into the Do-D class. An endless sea of fire descended from the sky. It enveloped half of the Do-Chi continent and stirred all the experts at that time. However, after experiencing the earth-shaking scene from when he advanced into the Do-D class, the two-she ancient god once again vanished. Moreover, according to common sense, those in the clan whom he had a blood relation towards should also have their bloodline strength being activated. Their strength should soar to a relatively terrifying level within a short period of time. Those who have the first-generation Do-D bloodline would be blessed with the greatest benefit. Hence, if a new ancient clan had appeared, it would definitely turn the Do-Chi continent into an uproar. However, this did not occur. In other words, the two-she ancient gods did not have many clan members. Perhaps there aren't anyone who possess a bloodline similar to his? Xiaoyan frowned and said, "The entire Do-Chi continent viewed the continuation of one's bloodline as extremely important. This was especially the case for these top experts. They greatly wanted their bloodline to continue. However, why was it that the two-she ancient god was all alone? This should be the case. However, we cannot exclude the possibility of no one discovering them." Gu Yuan nodded. He looked at Zhu Kun and said, "Is what I have said correct?" "It is more or less correct." Zhu Kun placed both of his hands behind him. He looked at the huge stone statue and suddenly changed the topic. There are a total of 33 types of heavenly flames on the heavenly flame ranking. They're the strongest flames in this world. However, do you know what is the name of the heavenly flame ranked first on the heavenly flame ranking? Xiaoyan's heart shook. Forget about the others. Even he, who had a great understanding of the heavenly flame, did not know anything about this heavenly flame that was ranked first on the heavenly flame ranking. This was because the first-ranked heavenly flame did not have a name to begin with. There were 23 heavenly flames on the heavenly flame ranking. However, the first position was completely blank. No one knew just what the first-ranked heavenly flame was. However, the strange thing was that many alchemists had some vague instinct that there should indeed be something existing above the nihility devouring flame. However, they were unaware of what it was. That first-ranked heavenly flame was a puzzle. It was extremely mysterious and unfathomable. No one had ever seen it. Is Elder Zhu Kun aware of what is the first-ranked heavenly flame on the heavenly flame ranking? Xiao Yin involuntarily asked. A strange smile was lifted on Zhu Kun's face after he heard this. He said, "Where is there a first-ranked heavenly flame in this world?" This answer caused everyone to be stunned. They frowned as they attempted to refute the answer. However, they suddenly discovered that they seemed to be unaware of what the first-ranked heavenly flame was. Could it be that the so-called top heavenly flame was merely a legend? All living creatures have their own souls. It is also the same for a heavenly flame. Zhu Kun also appeared to be aware of the shock within everyone's heart. He slowly said, "Based on what I know, there was once a heavenly flame that was formed in this world. It was created in 1,000 years, gained a soul after 10,000 years, and trained for a seemingly endless long time. This had caused it to be mutated slightly. Everyone is aware that heavenly flames that were mutated would seldom take the initiative to leave the place it was created. However, this flame was different. After possessing intelligence, it traveled in the direction of the magma, roaming the underground for 1,000 years and devour flames to survive. The flames that it devoured all had a ranking on the heavenly flame ranking. All 21 types were eaten by it. Devouring energy, it seems that only the nihility devouring flame is able to achieve it, right?" Xiao Yin hesitated before speaking. The heavenly flames was just like a shrunken version of a human country. Even though one is born a noble and possess a high position, there was still a possibility that one could be overturned. Eating each other is a kind of instinct to heavenly flames. Normally speaking, however, most of the time, it is the stronger eating the weaker. Zhu Kun sighed and said, "This was also the unique aspect of this flame. It knew how to quickly strengthen itself while avoiding the danger when devouring flames. It consumed the weaker first. After spending an extremely long time, after devouring 20 different heavenly flames, even the natural overlords like the nihility devouring flame and the purifying demonic flame could only prostrate to him." Xiao Yin involuntarily inhaled a breath of cold air after hearing until this point. It was extremely difficult to find heavenly flames in this world. Just what kind of concept swallowing 20 heavenly flames was? If it was a human, even if one could find these heavenly flames, who would dare to swallow these 20 extremely violent heavenly flames? Even the current Xiao Yin would likely have difficulty performing such a thing. Does Elder Zhu Kun mean? The so-called number one on the heavenly flame ranking does not have its own unique name. Instead, whoever can overcome the restraint and emerge from the cruel heavenly flame devourment would be considered the top of the heavenly flame ranking. Xiao Yin also seemed to have understood this as he verified. This is the logic. However, the swallowing of heavenly flames would likely result in the two types of heavenly flames coming into conflict with each other, which result in self-destruction. Hence, only by being able to successfully survive after devouring the other 21 types of heavenly flames will enable that flame to be qualified as the number one heavenly flame. Zhu Kun said. Xiao Yin nodded quietly. Using the flame mantra to refine the heavenly flame was already extremely dangerous. Even less needed to be said if one had to use one's own ability to swallow heavenly flames. The chances of failure was far too great. Yet, that heavenly flame was able to remain alive after devouring all the other 21 types of heavenly flames. It must be said that this itself was a miracle that one could not believe. It was likely that one would be unable to find many examples of such an occurrence, even in the entire history of the Do Chi continent. It is unexpected that the top heavenly flame on the heavenly flame ranking actually has such a secret to it. Everyone sighed softly. Clearly, this was the first time that they were aware that the so-called first-ranked heavenly flame did not refer to some unique flame. Instead, it was the ultimate heavenly flame formed by merging the 22 types of heavenly flames. After that heavenly flame succeeded, he referred to himself as the Flame God. He subsequently trained for thousands of years before appearing in this world. Zhu Kuan's eyes had a complicated expression surging within them after he spoke until this point. After that God flame broke into the world, he also gained another title on the Do Chi continent. Who? Zhu Kuan let out a deep breath of air. He stared at the 100,000 feet large ancient god stone statue in front of him. His soft muttering voice was like a thunder that exploded beside the ears of Xiao Yan's group, causing them to immediately become stunned. At that time, people call him the Tu Shi Ancient God.